Hey friends, welcome to my YouTube channel, Attorney E Immigration Lawyer. Today's episode, I want to talk about the 8 administrative actions of President Biden on his first days in office as president. Okay, ito po ay part 1. Magkakaroon po tayo ng part 2 and part 3 because we're gonna be updated on all of these administrative and executive actions. Okay, before that, I want to introduce myself. My name is Attorney Elaine Antonio Bordeaux. I'm a U.S. immigration attorney. I've been practicing U.S. immigration law for more than 10 years. I'm based in the U.S. If you want to know more about me, please visit my website at www.eboardlaw.com. Okay. All right. So this is part 1. And we're expecting na maraming mga pagbabagong mangyayari sa immigration because this is a new administration. Ang Biden administration it has its own immigration policies. Of course, si President Biden ay nagmumula sa Democratic Party, si President Trump ay nagmula sa Republican Party. May mga policies na very diametrically opposed sila. So we're expecting that this immigration policies issued by President Trump's administration will be reversed by President Biden. This is going to be a new beginning. Actually, this is very exciting. Kapag may new administration, it's always a new beginning. And kapag may new beginning, it's always a new hope and a new path for many people. Okay, so part 1, I want to talk about the 8 admin actions. As you know, during President Trump's administration, maraming mga executive actions that were issued. Okay. Isa-isa itong nire-reverse ni President Biden, which that's what he promised before the election. Okay. So, magsimula tayo dito sa enforcement action ng ICE. Ito yung mga hinuhuli and people getting put on deportation. During President Trump, napakahigpit talaga. I had many clients na, dadating sa pagdating sa port of entry, then makikita ang mga nakaraang history and parang indiscriminately na everybody was placed in deportation. Okay, so first executive order related to the Department of Homeland Security was a memo rescinding Trump's enforcement policy that indiscriminately target anyone who could be deported. Kasi parang dati po, parang pag unlawful yung status mo, you could be placed in deportation indiscriminately na, no? So, walang mga priorities. Everybody na hindi lawful ang immigration status ay po pwedeng malagay sa deportation. Pero ngayon, starting on February 1, interim priorities will focus enforcement on people suspected of terrorism. So nagkaroon ng mga priorities. Hindi naman lahat na po, porket wala ka ng nag-expire status mo or unlawful immigration status mo, automatic nilalagay ka na sa deportation process. So now may pagbabago, may mga priorities na kung sinong ilalagay. So yung priority number 1, people suspected of terrorism. Okay? And of course, yung may mga criminal history and determined to be a public safety risk. Okay, so hindi naman libre. Pero may priorities si President Biden. Okay, number 2, 100-day moratorium on most deportation. Yung moratorium, pause, hinto muna, most deportation. So if you're in removal proceeding, kung nasa deportation ka, ay pahinto muna. Dati deportation ang tawag, ngayon removal. For purposes of our podcast, tatawagin kong deportation or removal ay magkapareho ng ibig sabihin. Para lang simplified at madaling maintindihan ng lahat. Okay? 100-day moratorium on most deportations. So if you are in the removal proceeding, merong 100-day moratorium. So hinto muna yung deportation. Yun po ang memo that was issued, but the state of Texas has filed a lawsuit against that memo. And the state of Texas was able to obtain an injunction. So pinahinto ng Texas yung moratorium for now. That's the latest, and we're gonna see what will happen next. Okay, so mag-subscribe po kayo para lagi kayong posted. Because kapag may update, I'm going to do a recording and I'm going to share it to everybody. Okay. Sabi dito, during the moratorium, DHS is required to review its enforcement practices and make recommendations for new priorities. So they're gonna change their priorities kung sino yung mga dapat silang mag-focus. Of course, yung people suspected of terrorism, yung mga criminals, I don't disagree with that. Okay, you can have your own opinion, and that's perfectly fine. This is a free society. But for me, I don't disagree kung ang mga may criminal history ay maging priority for deportation. Okay? But for now, itong 100-day moratorium or yung pause ng deportation ay nahinto because of an injunction issued out of a lawsuit filed by the state of Texas. Okay? So, mag-subscribe po kayo para ma-update ko po kayo palagi. And if you are in the removal process, your lawyer, if you're not yet represented by a lawyer, I strongly advise that you get an immigration attorney sa deportation. The government is not really providing pro bono services. There are organizations that can give pro bono services, but unlike in criminal cases where the government is actually giving the defendant free services. So deportation, because it's not really a criminal proceeding, may mga non-profit organizations naman that can help you. And in fact, when you go to court for the first time or you get your NTA, kung kayo ay nasa deportation, nandoon yung mga names or list ng organizations in your area or where the court is located na po pwedeng mag-assist sa'yo if you are in the removal process. Okay? Number 3, end of the Muslim and African travel bans. Okay. Oh, by the way, we want to thank the American Immigration Council for putting this together. Great resource. Biden ordered the State Department to immediately resume processing visas for those affected by the bans. Ito po yung proclamation ni President Trump na suspending or blocking immigrants from certain Muslim, mostly Muslim majority countries and from African countries. Okay. And to propose a plan for reconsidering without prejudice the people previously excluded by it. So dun sa mga naapektuhan nitong travel ban na to, ay magandang balita ito. Especially dun sa mga pamilya na maaari nang mag-resume yung visa processing. Of course, this is subject dun sa mga issuances on COVID, related to COVID pandemic regulations. Number 4, protecting people with DACA. Yung DACA was first issued and implemented during President Obama's time. Ito po yung mga batang dumating dito and went to school, mga mababait na mga bata ito. And they were given temporary relief from removal. They were able to work and they were able to go to school, work, and to not fear about getting deported. And nagkaroon po ng maraming lawsuit during President Trump's time. At one point ay hindi sila nag-accept ng DACA first-time application. Before his term ended, USCIS was ordered by the court to start accepting again first-time applications. So ngayon, nagkaroon po nag-issue ng memo instructing DHS and the Attorney General to preserve and fortify the deferred action for childhood arrivals program. This is very good, and I really strongly support na dapat ang mga kabataan nating ito ay mabigyan na ng permanent path to citizenship or to green card and then citizenship. They came here when they were children and they abide yung mga batas dito. They went to school. Most of them are working. Most of them, they're law-abiding citizens or law-abiding individuals, okay? Not yet US citizens, but law-abiding individuals. And I really believe na dapat bigyan natin sila ng permanent path or green card and eventually US citizenship. Parang imposible nang ibabalik mo sila dun sa bansa na hindi naman nila kilala na anymore. Like, especially those children from South American countries. Marami sa kanilang, yung kultura ng bansa nila, yung lengguwahe, and then i-deport mo pa ba sila? So, and most of them are great assets to their community. Kaya I really believe na dapat suportahan natin yung permanent path to citizenship or green card of these individuals. Okay? Number 5, expedited and extended access to green card processing for Liberians. Okay, an executive action ordering the expedited processing of green cards through the Liberian Refugee Immigration Fairness Act, a benefit few people have been able to access due to processing delays during COVID-19. Biden also extended deferred enforced departure, a temporary status that recently expired for Liberians, to provide more time for eligible Liberians to apply for permanent residence. Ito naman po yung mga Liberians na nag-expire na ang kanilang DED. So they were granted an extension and a benefit under the Liberian Refugee Immigration Fairness Act. Isang humanitarian act, and we commend President Biden for this. And I hope, I'm going to talk about the Filipino War Veteran Parole Program na sana ay isa itong programa na maibalik din or ma-activate din because it was affected by President Trump's immigration policy. We're going to talk about that extensively later on in another episode. Pang-anim, pausing construction on border wall. Okay, as you know, nagsimula ang construction ng border wall and during President Trump's administration. Ngayon po ay pina-order ang pause in the wall construction, while DHS reviews all related contracts and creates a plan for the redirection of the funds already appropriated for the wall for 2021. Okay. All right. We want to thank the American Immigration Council for putting this together. Okay. Number 7, ending Trump's unconstitutional census executive order. So si President Trump po ay meron siyang executive order. Ang sabi niya doon, meron siyang instruction. Ang sabi niya sa Census Bureau ay dapat tanggalin lahat ng undocumented immigrants from the census counts. So nagkaroon po ng executive order rescinding Trump's instruction to the Census Bureau to remove undocumented immigrants from census counts. So now states are now ensured to receive full congressional representation and federal funding for all of their residents. Number 8, ito po ay tungkol sa asylums application. So during President Trump ay merong tinatawag na Migrant Protection Protocol, also known as Remain in Mexico Program. Ang ibig sabihin po nito, yung mga asylum seekers na dumating sa border ay magre-register sila dito sa Migrant Protection Protocol na magre-remain sila sa Mexico while their asylum application is in process. Under the Biden administration po, DHS announced that the agency would stop. So hindi stop, hinto na, subjecting new asylum seekers to the Migrant Protection Protocols, also known as the Remain in Mexico program. Okay, so this is our part 1 ng Biden immigration updates. We're gonna have part 2, marami pang mga new executive actions. This is really exciting. And we're also gonna go over yung kanyang proposed immigration reform bill. Pag-usapan natin, yun po ang plano ko. And then yung ating Filipino War Veteran Parole Program. Kasi maraming mga veterans na they passed away na sa sobrang tagal ng paghihintay ng petisyon nila. And ngayon, yung mga anak, yung mga beneficiaries na naiwan sa Philippines ay, paano na yun? You know, na naghintay ng napakatagal. And nung namatay yung petitioner, hindi na sila makapunta dito sa US dahil nga namatay yung petitioner. Under President Trump's administration, they announced the termination of this parole program. Okay? So yan po ang ating podcast for today. Kung nagustuhan nyo, please like and subscribe. If you want to have a consultation with me, please email eb@eboardlaw.com. My website is www.eboardlaw.com. And our YouTube channel is Attorney E Immigration Lawyer. We have a Facebook account. It's Attorney E Immigration Lawyer. Thank you so much.